Hey, it's Bob from I Like to Make Stuff, and thanks everybody for joining us on this episode of BrainPick. And I'm here with Steve Carmichael. Hey, Steve.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Doing great. How are you?
Good. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah. Thanks for being on. We're actually pretty close to each other. You're up in Atlanta, and I'm down in Savannah, so it's only about 4 hours or so.
Right. Yeah, just down the road.
Yeah. You ever been to Savannah?
I have. We drove down there for a weekend, down to Tybee Island,
Oh yeah.
and that, and that's actually one of my very few speeding tickets was going to Savannah.
Sorry about that.
Yeah, there's a long straight road that goes through a bunch of pine tree farms, I believe, and I was just cruising along and saw these little flashing lights in the background.
Yep, it's the road from Macon to Savannah. It's like the most boring road in the United States. So.
Yeah, that must be where all the pine comes from.
Yeah, I guess it is. That's why it's so cheap here. Well, we got a few questions coming in. We'll go ahead and get started with them in just a second. But I was going to ask Steve. We've talked a little bit. We met at Woodworking America, which is really awesome.
Yep.
But I wanted to hear kind of the origin story of you, like how you got into this, how you got on YouTube, how you got to be woodworking, all that stuff.
Okay. Well, I've been woodworking since I was a kid. My dad did it. He was into welding, and he was always fixing things around the house. And I usually found myself holding the light for him when he was fixing stuff. So I was there watching what he did, and I always watched New Yankee Workshop. Then eventually started getting my own like benchtop tools and stuff, and then I got an iPod and started listening to like the Wood Whisperer and Matt Vanderlist, Matt's Basement Workshop, their podcasts. And then right around January of 2012, my father passed away of Alzheimer's. And after that, I was helping my mom go through his stuff, and she told me, you need to go through his tools and grab anything you might use. So I started bringing his stuff home, got it organized in my garage, and right around that time, I kind of discovered Steve Ramsey and Lainey Shaughnessy on YouTube, started watching their stuff, and then they did the Whirligig Wars contest. So really my first shooting of a video was doing the Kiss Whirligig that I made. And then I ended up winning first place in that contest. And then that kind of kicked off the whole thing where I wanted to start making videos like, Steve and all the other guys I was watching. So that's kind of how I got into it. So it was about July or August of that year, 2012, that I started my channel. So it's been about 2.5 years to get to this point.
Awesome. That's cool. Yeah, I had no idea that's how you got started in it. That's great.
Yeah.
So what was after you won that, so was it just like, well, now I have to do more, or did you find in making that video that you really enjoyed it and you just wanted to do more?
Yeah, it was the process of making that and be able to show it outside of my workshop, because I'm sure a lot of people can relate that you do woodworking and it's pretty solitary. You're in your shop, and the only people that see your stuff is your family when you bring it in the house, or you might give it to somebody, or you could try to sell things. But being able to put that out there for the public and people on YouTube and Facebook and everybody to see, that kind of intrigued me. So it motivated me to do some more.
Yeah, that makes sense. As somebody who works from home, like I can say that I spend a lot of my time in my office or in my shop, alone, and so I can totally identify with that. Just like part of the great thing about YouTube is the community, that I have these people I can communicate with and show stuff off to and learn stuff from, but at the same time I'm still sitting in front of my computer, alone. So.
Yeah, but when I started my channel, I had already recorded a few small projects and kind of put together videos with narration and kind of stuff just to get my feet wet. So my first, I don't know, 5 or 6 videos are me trying to figure out what I want to do, and then each one just kind of evolved from there, you know. But just like everybody else, I started off with 0 subscribers. I think I created an account so I could subscribe to myself.
Yeah, you cheated.
Yeah, yeah.
I'm sure you're not the first person to do that.
Yeah, and then it kind of I let my friends know and coworkers, and then it just kind of developed from there.
Awesome, that's cool. Well, let's see. We got some questions here. Let's see. Steve, oh, this is from Dustin. Steve, I love the 2x4 guitar. You mentioned that you found the body template online, but I've been unsuccessful in finding one for myself. Was it something you downloaded or printed out, or something you ordered?
I have a friend who works for a guitar company, and he just happened to have a set of Telecaster templates that were just hardboard templates. Yeah, the body and the neck, and then there's a separate template for routing out the neck pocket and pickups. So I just posted on Facebook that, hey, I'm looking for templates for a guitar, and he replied. And I went over and picked it up and made a copy of his templates. So that's what I used for the guitar. But if I didn't have that, I would just go to Google Images and search for a Telecaster plan or layout. And I remember when I did that project, there's a bunch of them on there with dimensions and pretty much everything you need to do it. So that's a good place to chat.
Yeah, but I think, sorry, go ahead.
You can buy them. There's guys on eBay and other websites that sell the templates, though.
Yeah, I think you may have more trouble finding them, Justin, looking on woodworking sites for plans, and you may have more luck looking on guitar sites. And you're probably a guitar player, so you may already know that. But I know a handful of other musicians that build guitars, and they spend a lot of time on these forums talking about, the best practices for the best ways to make guitars. And I would imagine that'd probably be a good place to go to find some free templates. Yeah. Let's see. How did you get involved with Wood Magazine for your article? And your pizza was awesome for the palette challenge. Very creative. Oh, it's Sterling. Hey, Sterling.
Hi, Sterling. Thanks. Yeah, that started with, I believe, Steve Ramsey. He did an article several issues ago about, I think, selling your woodworking. And Wood Magazine has this section of the magazine that's called Unvarnished. And they're featuring, people like us that do YouTube videos and makers and things in that column. So Steve did the article, and I submitted some information about my drumstick pins that I make to Steve, and he included it in his article. And after that, the folks at Wood Magazine contacted me and asked me if I would like to do my own article in the magazine. So I said sure. And that was around September, October. And so I submitted my article, and it was a fun process. It was really great. They let me, I told them, I don't really draw technical plans or do complex projects or anything. They said just be yourself and write your own article, So the article I did was fun with keeping woodworking fun. And I just talked about, doing things that are different. It's okay to be goofy and just get out into the shop and make, a sandwich out of wood or whatever. But so I was just myself in the article, and they liked it and went with it. And they said it'd be out in the March issue. So I was surprised that it showed up in my mail on January 3rd, I think.
Yeah.
So that was a nice surprise. So yeah, it's out now. It's they say it should hit the shelves, the newsstands, pretty soon.
Awesome. Everybody go get that. That's great.
Yeah.
And kind of off that, I mean, one of the reasons I love your videos and love your projects is because they are fun. Like when we met in in North Carolina, you brought all the, well, not all of them, but a bunch of the things that you had made, and it was so cool to see like the sandwich, and you know all those. I think that's great that you bring that to this community and like to YouTube in a way that nobody else does. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I used to try to do projects like Norm Abram would make, you know, fancy things and that sort of thing. But I just found I would lose interest in the middle of it because the project would take so long. So I've kind of fallen into this vibe where if I can find a fun project that doesn't take too long to make, and you know, it's quirky or oddball or different, I like that kind of stuff. So that's kind of where I'm at.
Yeah. Well, there's a question here that says, how do you come up with all these quirky ideas? Some of your projects are so offbeat. I was curious too. Like, you know, where do you get your ideas? Are they just out of nowhere?
Well, a lot of times I just kind of keep my eyes open and I'll see things that I can, you know, kind of file in my brain, and later it'll, you know, an opportunity will come up where that'll come back out, and I'll think, oh, that's a good opportunity to use this. It might be a contest or whatever, but I think like the thing with the sandwich that I made, you ever go to a restaurant and they have a tray of desserts sitting out, and you're wondering if are they real or is that plastic food, you know? So I think that's where that came from. I saw one of those trays and I thought, hey, I wonder if I could make that out of wood. And that's something I've always done. I wonder if other people do this, is whenever you see something in a store or whatever, I wonder if everybody else thinks, hey, I can make that and I can make it better, or what could I make that out of, you know?
Yeah, I do that all the time.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people, once you get the experience of being able to like, hey, I have an idea and I'm going to spend some time and learn some stuff and then make that thing. And once you get from that idea to that finished thing, no matter what it is, then you're like empowered to go, oh, next time I see something I want, I'll have to see if I can make it, you know. And that it's just like this tumble of, you know, snowball effect of like, oh, I don't have to buy as much stuff. I can buy raw materials and make it myself.
Right, and usually I think, can I make that out of wood? What can I make it out of? Or PVC is my other option. PVC aisle at Home Depot is like a big giant Tinker Toy box to me. I love playing with that stuff. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. Which project? This is from Mike. Hey, Mike. I met Mike in North Carolina as well. You probably did too.
Yeah.
Which project was the most fun to make?
I'd have to say the 2x4 guitar would be the most fun, because I'm a musician as well, and anytime I can combine woodworking and music-related stuff in one project, that's something I'm really into and really enjoy. So that was pretty much it for me. It's that guitar.
Yeah, I think I actually have several people that know I'm a musician. They ask me to do music-related projects. I think people really love that. When they have those two interests, you know, they love to see them combined. So it's probably a big win for that one for you, because it was good for you, and it's good for a lot of other people that like those two things. Let's see here. There's one from Shannon. How much time do you dedicate each week or each night to your projects?
Usually I will be thinking about projects kind of over the course of a week or so. I'll have a project in mind, and then I start thinking about how I can shoot the video, what kind of angle I can take on it, what can I do different in the video that would be entertaining while I'm making the project. But as far as spending time, I do work full-time, Monday through Friday, 8 to 5. So I get home, we have dinner as a family, everybody goes off and does their homework or their own thing. So usually I'm in the shop by around 8 or 9 at night. And if I'm shooting a video, it's not unusual to go to midnight or 1 a.m. working on stuff and shooting the video. And with my projects, they're pretty short. But some of them can last across 2 or 3 nights before I finish shooting the video.
Gotcha.
And then I go into editing the video after that.
Now, what's your kind of editing post-production time frame relative to the actual project itself?
Usually, I would say about 6 to 8 hours to put a video together. Editing it, adding music. Sometimes I have to reshoot some parts. And then that includes like rendering it and uploading it as well, which takes some time. And then part of that is also taking what I call glamour shots of the finished project when I'm done.
Sparkles and all that stuff.
Yeah. I like to if I make a table or something, an end table, then I'm going to stage it next to the couch, so it looks nice in the picture that I might share on Pinterest or whatever.
Right.
And then there's other stuff like making the YouTube thumbnail and then a Facebook cover image, and then I like to write an article on my blog post about it. And if it's something where I have plans or drawings for, I like to make those available as well. So, pretty much a day or two to get all that done and posted. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, I think there's a lot of that kind of ancillary stuff to the actual video that maybe people don't realize you have to do, but there's like so much, thumbnails and images for this format and blog posts and all. There's a bunch of stuff that goes with it after you finish the video.
Right.
But you did say glamour shot, so I'm going to expect at some point to see one of your pictures with like somebody with tons of hairspray and makeup and the sparkles all over. So.
Oh, okay.
You gotta do that. Yeah. Let's see here. This is from Nick Ferry. Steve, what is one tool you don't have that you would like to eventually get, or one tool you couldn't do without? It's a good question, Nick.
Yeah. One tool I could not do without is the bandsaw. That's my favorite saw. It's really the first power tool that my dad let me operate. But just because it's so freeform and you can cut straight things, you can cut curved things, you can get creative with it. So that's what I really like about the bandsaw. One tool that I don't have. I think the CNC machines are interesting. I'm not sure if I got one, if I would know right off the bat what I could use it for. So I'd have to study that. I know you've been working with your Shapeoko, so I've been following you with that. But I'm interested in that. I'm also interested in having a way to personalize items with like a laser engraver or something. That would be a good addition, I think, because when I make pins or gifts or stuff, quite often people ask, can I personalize it with their name? And that's hard to do if you don't have the tool. So. Yeah,
I can imagine that would be, especially on something that small. You have to have a very specific tool to be able to customize a pin, I would think.
Yeah.
Laser is probably the only way you could really do that, I guess.
Yeah, and even then, it's a curved surface. And,
yeah. With the CNC, I was kind of in the same place. I got it not really having any idea. It was like one of those things I just wanted to have, and I'd saved up the money, and I was like, okay, I'm going to get it, and I'll find something to do with it. And I think it's like most tools like that. Once you have it on hand, then you start looking for ways to use it, and then you just start like, oh, I can use it for this and this and this and this. I have a 3D printer on the way, and I'm looking at that the same way. No idea what I'm going to print with it. No idea, how it's going to be useful. But once you have access to those things, I think you start to find ways to use it.
Yeah, I heard you guys talk about it on your Making It podcast, where you were saying you would just use it as another tool to complement what you're already doing on the project. Yeah,
I think it's a good one, but it's just like anything else in that sense that,
Yeah.
But let's see here. This is from Patrick, from Patrick's Workshop. Both. When you got into woodworking, did you ever imagine this many people would want to watch your building? And when you look back at all your projects, how many would you change?
You want to go first, or
Yeah, I'll go first. I had, as far as people wanting to watch, no, I had no clue, and I still don't even understand it. I'm not sure why anybody's interested in what I'm doing. I think it's awesome, and I'm not going to second guess it, but I don't understand it. So no, I didn't have any expectation of that. And I'm really grateful for it. When I look back at the things I would change, I would change a lot in a small amount in a lot of different projects on my channel. Mainly just stuff that I now, I have a tendency to just do things that I think work and do things in the best way that I know without taking the time to like take every step and look it up to make sure that I'm doing it the right way. I just want to get things done in a way that's reasonable. And often that means that I'm doing it wrong in the eyes of people who know more about whatever it is. And so I think I've learned a lot in doing something wrong on camera, putting it out there, and then having 30 people say, oh, there's a better way to do this, in a nice way. I mean, I'm not complaining, but you learn a lot from doing it wrong and putting it out there and then getting the reaction of that's not safe, or here's a better way, or whatever. So there's a lot of those things in almost every project that I would like to go back and change, but it's all hindsight, learn after I did it. So, but as far as like actually not doing a project or doing a project very differently, I don't think so, because most of my stuff is pretty intentional for me. So what about you?
Let's see. I never imagined that this many people would want to watch me make the goofy projects that I make. But I kind of get the feeling that's why they do watch me, so I keep coming up with them. But as far as looking back at my other projects, I probably wouldn't change a lot of the projects. I would more want to change what I did in the video, or how I shot it, or the quality, or the sound of the video, or the music I chose, that sort of thing. And I can't stand to go back and watch my videos, most of them. Some of them I can go back and watch, but there are some of them, people still comment on my older videos, and I don't even remember, aside from doing the project, I don't remember the details of what I did in the video. So they'll ask me a certain question, and I'll have to go back and watch it to remember what I did. So, but no, a lot of my projects I wouldn't go back and change, probably.
Yeah,
that's a good question. It's hard to think about.
Yeah. Here's another one. I'm so awesome that I have found that my family, especially the in-laws, expect me to build them stuff. You're both awesome too, so I expect you run into this as well. How do you handle it, paying customer versus free labor, and find a careful balance? You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, just over Christmas, I made some things for some family members, and I like to do that. It's kind of hard to fit those in between making videos. And I don't sell things that much. Really the only thing I try to sell, or I make pins out of my used drumsticks that have been broken. That's really the only thing I'd make to sell. But if somebody asked me to make them something, I'll probably consider it, see when I can fit it in between videos. But pretty much everybody, I've told that I try to focus on making the videos, one every week if I can, so they know that I'll have to fit it in around that.
Yeah, I've kind of had the same experience where I think people know that my time is really limited, already, and so if they do ask, it's usually like, hey, can you make a video about this thing and make me the thing at the same time? Which is actually, it sounds bad when I say it like that, but it's actually really considerate, because they're like, I've had some friends say, I need this thing for my house, and I could buy it, but would you like to make it so that you can have content for another video, which is actually really cool. So, you might want to look at it that way, is like everything that you make for your in-laws or for your family or friends or whatever, it's a chance for you to build your portfolio. It's a chance for you to have another piece of content, you know, and maybe not everything's going to make a great video, but, you know, you could pass it through that filter first and see if it makes sense for you to take advantage of it, you know, in a good way. And also, I think just in general, and everybody's personality is different on this, but in general, I think it goes a long way for you to make something for somebody you know for free. You know, I think there's a lot more meaning in that than like some random person online asking you to make something and paying you $50 or whatever to make that thing. Even though you're not getting the money out of a family or friend, they're asking you because they value your workmanship and they value your time, and they want to have something made by you. That counts for a lot to me. So yeah, it is a balance for sure, but you know, it's not like it's not maybe as unweighted as you want to think it is for me. But okay, hey, Matt Cremona, he's asking, Steve, did you ever use the walnut that you milled on your bandsaw?
I have used some of it. I did a project where I made a little, it was a little box for a silver-plated object that my mother-in-law gave me. She's from England, so she had the silver-plated object. I had no clue what it was. But it was, apparently they have these After 8 mint boxes. It's a kind of like a holiday candy thing. And they had these silver-plated trays to hold the box that the candy came in. And it looked more like a butter dish. But so I used some of that walnut to make that box, and I put the Union Jack, the British flag, on top. Cut that out of the wood so it would look like it's carved. So go back and watch that video and you'll see some of that walnut. But I still got a lot of it left I need to use up.
Awesome. I love walnut. It's so great.
Yeah, it works, cuts so easily, and turns great on the lathe.
I may need to come up and take lathe lessons from you.
Yeah.
I've said before, I'm just scared of it. It's right there.
Too.
I can see it, and you know, I'm just scared of it.
Yeah, I see it. I've done lots of pins, and then other than that, I've done 5 or 6 small projects. But that's pretty much it. But I like to make walnut pins. I like the look of walnut with the silver chrome pin kits. I like that look, the brown and the silver. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, that sounds like something I would like to make. Here's one from John. I've noticed the majority of woodworkers, including myself, have beards. What's up with that? Do you have any thoughts on that trend?
No, I didn't have a beard until I was 40 years old, and I'm 47 now, so I've had a beard for 7 years. And I think it's more of a lazy thing, just don't want to shave. But yeah, that's just it for me.
Yeah, I've never had a beard. I've never had any facial hair at all until about a year ago. And it was always like, I can't grow a beard. I can't grow a beard, so I didn't even try. But same thing, too lazy to shave, you know, let it go until it looked horrible, and then I'd shave it. And then eventually I was like, all right, I'm going to try this. Because everybody else has beards, so I should be able to do it too. Sure enough, I got some kind of beard. You know, it's not much.
Yeah, same here.
Let's see. Oh, Steve, do you get your lumber from a big box store or a local yard? If local, who is it? By the way, I'm local to your area. That's Mike Gill.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hi. Usually if I'm making a project out of pine or something, I'll just go by the big box store and pick up a 1x12, 8 foot long, that I can cut however I want. That seems to be the most economical way to buy a board from there. I don't buy the oak or poplar because they sell it by the linear foot, and it gets really expensive that way at the big box store. And there is a lumber yard nearby that I can go and buy things like maple, cherry, walnut, mahogany, that sort of thing. So that's where I go. Is it okay if I mention the name?
Oh yeah, of course.
It's Sewanee Lumber. It's in Sewanee, Georgia, and they actually have a shed out at the end of the parking lot that's half-price lumber. So you can pick through there and find some good stuff. Like I found some curly maple out there for half price. And just to give you an example, a like 8-foot 1x6 red oak board I got there for about $15 a few months ago. Whereas Home Depot, it's so much a foot, so it was, about half the price,
Yeah.
if not less,
Yeah, the hardwoods at the big box stores are just unreal.
Yeah.
Crazy. Let's see here. I saw another one. I can't find it now, but it was basically, is there a project, like a big project that you want to do this year? It's for both of us. I'll take it first. I've been planning on building, and I've said this on podcasts and stuff, I've been planning on building a full-size arcade machine, and I've got the electronics done, so it's a working machine. It's just right now it's not in a big cabinet. But so this year, hopefully in the next couple months, I'm going to build this full-size cabinet, with electronics and all that. It's going to be big and kind of crazy, probably multi-part build kind of thing. So that's for me. What about you?
Yeah, I've had several people ask me to build a drum kit. So, yeah, I've tried that before using real thin 1/8" door skin plywood and bending it around a form and gluing like 2 plies together. And I never could get the plies to seal against each other. There's always voids all the way around. But then I discovered you can make like a snare drum. It's called a stave snare drum, where you cut segmented boards and you kind of make a circle out of these wedges. And then you can mount that on your lathe or cut it with the bandsaw to make the drum shell. So I think I'm going to try to stave snare drum and start with that and see how that goes. And I kind of did something like that. I made a drum set birdhouse, and the bass drum for that is about 8 or 10 inches, and that was kind of my test bed or my test piece for making a stave snare drum, because that's how I did it. So.
That's cool. When do you think you'll do that? Do you have plans for it, or is it just like a thing that you want to do?
No, it's a project I want to get to, and I'm planning on doing it sometime this year. So awesome. I'm definitely gonna get to that. So
cool. I look forward to that one. Here's one from. Oh, it jumped around. They do that. Oh, so from the angling arborist. How often do you guys strip down the video gear and just have some shop time to yourself? I'm really wanting to get into making videos, but I don't want my shop time to turn into work. That's a good question. Do you do much shop time without, making videos?
Yeah, actually, this weekend on Sunday, I came out to the shop and just picked 5 or 6 different things I wanted to get done that day, and just different things like you can probably see these drill bit holders and hangers on the pegboard behind me. I cleaned up an area of the shop over here where I want to make a miter saw station. After making gifts for people, I made myself a pen on the lathe, for me, to do something just for me for a change. It's nice to get out here and do that and not have video running, not having to worry about cameras. So yeah, occasionally I do come out here and do that. So, and I enjoy it. Yeah, that's awesome. Sometimes I'll make something like that and then regret not recording it.
Yeah, I don't ever get that time. I don't ever give myself that time. I'm busy enough that I don't know how you guys do a video a week. A lot of people do that, and that blows me away. I don't know how you do that. But so I don't have enough time to actually produce videos even on the every 2-ish week schedule that I do, and then also do work that's not videoed. So I just look at pretty much everything I have to do as the potential for a video project, and kind of take it from there. But it's totally understandable about not wanting it to become work, because I know it can be kind of tedious to, and slows you down a lot to want to just make something, but then you also have to like drag the equipment around and all that stuff. For me, it's just become part of my process for making something. It's just now, even if I wasn't shooting video and I was cutting something, I would be thinking about like, well, I have to make sure that my body's out of the shot so that the camera could see it. So it's just kind of part of my process now at this point.
I found that there's times where if I haven't started the video yet, I will not really procrastinate, but it's just some days I don't feel like coming out here and shooting a video, So I have to wait until it hits me, and I feel like I want to do it before I come out here and do it.
Yeah, that makes sense. You have to want to do it, otherwise it would probably be pretty hard to stay motivated to do all the work.
And I've tried to force myself to record a video, and it just never comes out too well.
Makes sense. Let's see. Both, another one from Patrick. Both, you recently posted a shop tour. Do you have any plans on getting new tools or adding more? And if so, what would you get?
The next thing I'm going to get is a zero clearance insert for my table saw. I've got the I don't have a splitter or riving knife on it. So I've got the micro jig splitters. So I'm going to get a zero clearance and install that. So it'll be safer. So
nice. That's cool.
That's kind of my next thing.
Yeah. And you were talking about a miter station as well.
Yeah, I need to build a cart for my miter saw with. I'd like to do like a shroud, get some dust collection going for that. So that's coming up as well. So I'll probably do a video on that.
Awesome. Yeah, I did. I did a shroud for mine recently, and I actually didn't shoot a video of it. So I'm a liar, apparently. I did do something without shooting a video of it. But I was shooting a video for something else, and I knew that I was going to make a big mess, and so I quickly, just made like a really simple shroud behind it. And it's worked pretty well. I probably should have put some more thought into it. But for me, since my shop tour, I've gotten a new table saw, which is awesome, and I'm really happy with that purchase. But it basically takes up the same footprint as what I had, so I didn't have to move anything, around for that. But this wall behind me, there's not really anything tool-wise. My lathe is there, but there's nothing else usable on it. It's all just storage. There's a lumber rack, like a sheet rack down here, and then there's just cabinets. We were talking before the video started that it's a cabinets full of stuff. I don't know what's in them. This one has electrical stuff. This one has other stuff, and this one has chemicals in it. That's like all I know. So I think one of my next big things is going to be to take this entire wall and get rid of the cart, pull the cabinets down, and put a top on them and make it a surface, and then probably put my miter saw over and make a big miter station. And so a lot of work's going to happen over here eventually, whenever I can find the time to do that for me.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
It's hard to, for me at least, it's hard to justify, like, that's a big thing to rip out an entire wall and then build a thing to put back in there, and so I got to be able to justify that.
Right. And it takes a lot of planning to plan that out too. What exactly you want to do.
Yeah, and I think your shop is about the same size as mine. It's kind of a one car garage, right? Yeah. So if you want to disrupt half of your shop, then if I'm pulling that out, that's going to ruin everything over here for like a day while I pull it over. So yeah, it's tough. Here's one for you from Mike Fulton. How do you, Steve, handle the trolls? You're always so positive. Do you take any of that to heart?
I don't really get that many trolls on my videos. I probably will now that I mentioned that. But I have had some comments. A lot of them are just spam, trying to get you to go to a site and buy 16,000 plans. But I've had a few comments, that I pretty much just delete the comment and move on. And honestly, I can't remember them. But sometimes I've seen people comment toward other people on my videos, like and I try to protect people, I guess, that comment on my videos from other people who are saying bad things to them. So really any negativity that shows up, I pretty much try to ward that off and just delete it.
Yeah, I think that's probably the best for your channel as a whole.
Yeah, because in my situation, I know my kids are watching my videos and reading comments, and I know my neighbors' kids, they watch my stuff as well. So I keep that in mind. So I try to keep it kid-friendly, pretty much.
Cool. Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. Let's see. Oh, okay. Here's one from Jason. Do you have any suggestions for makers or crafters to build an audience on YouTube? My wife has a channel who does a bit of woodworking and lots of crafts. Good on you for helping build the community. It's been great to watch and grow. Yeah. Do you have any any recommendations or any tips for somebody trying to build a channel in this community?
What I started off slow and just started doing videos, and I tried to change up the different ways I did the videos in the beginning. Just kind of find myself and figure out what kind of videos I want to make. But I think the key to it was just to keep going and don't give up on making new videos, and try to post as regularly as you can. And then along the way, you'll find that other YouTubers will start helping you out and sharing you and mentioning you in their videos, and that's where a lot of people help me out by sharing my videos. And, but some of it I did myself by participating in contests. That was every contest I did was a huge boost because people watch what you come up with in a contest. So that was a big help. But other than that, it's just try to stay consistent and keep posting videos and keep making new things. And you have to enjoy doing it. That's the main thing. If you don't enjoy doing it, people will be able to tell, and it makes it difficult to watch if you're watching somebody not doing something they're enjoying.
Yeah, definitely. I get asked this question a fair amount, and I think there's a few things that I always go back to. One is that there's enough audience for everybody, I think. So I think making an effort to chase an audience is probably the wrong way to go about it. But if you do, like what you're saying, if you do what you love and you're authentic and you're really into what you're making, eventually, it may take some time, but eventually you're going to find the people that really love what you do too, and those people will become your audience, and that they will help you start to grow. But I think the tendency is to say, like, I do woodworking, so therefore all of the people that watch woodworking videos on YouTube, they're my target audience, and that's probably not necessarily the case. It may be, but I think you'll have better luck doing what you do, loving what you love, showing off what you have to offer, and then people will find that and flock to it. That's the audience portion of it. I think being involved in the community, like really proactively being involved, is huge. And I've seen that that helped me a lot, and I've seen that from a lot of other people. Just being interactive on other people's videos, and sharing, learning from other people makes a pretty big difference. Because if somebody comes and comments on one of my videos and seems like genuinely interested and asking questions that make sense, that that I want to be able to answer and stuff, I'm like, oh, well, what's this person about? I want to go check them out and see what they do. And I do that constantly. I check out channels all the time, people that have sent me messages or whatever. So I think being actively engaged is a huge part of it. And then the other thing is just patience. Like, there's no silver bullet. There's no secret. There's no there's no thing that's going to get you a big audience. I think it's exactly what you said: consistency and engagement, and just like loving what you're doing. So.
Yeah, exactly. I subscribe to over 500 channels that are woodworking, and we cut the cord with cable. We don't have TV, so that's what if I'm going to watch something at night, it's going to be everybody's woodworking videos that y'all are creating. So, and I like to comment on people's videos, and if people comment on mine, I always try to respond, and that's another part of what it's all about for me, is having that conversation with people and talking about what I'm doing here in my shop, which used to be just a solitary thing.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Well, hopefully that helps, Jason. I remember Jason's name from Instagram or Twitter or something the other day. He was saying some nice stuff, so thanks, Jason. Let's see. All right, so we got about 15 more minutes, so if you guys have any other, there's a bunch of questions still here, but if you have anything that you really want to ask and we want to get it in before the show's over, go ahead and put it in here. Either, do you follow college basketball, and what team? Do you follow basketball?
I used to watch college basketball all the time, and Georgia Tech was my team that I watched back in the Bobby Cremins days. Back when it was Georgetown and Duke and UNC, all those teams were doing it. But since we don't have cable TV now, I pretty much don't watch any sports at all, and all my TV viewing is YouTube woodworking. So.
Yeah, I'm pretty much the same way. I grew up in Kentucky, and in Kentucky, college basketball is like a thing. There's UK and U of L, and everybody is really gung-ho about one of those two, and I grew up with family that went to both of them, and I was just like, I don't know who to root for, and so basketball's not a thing for me. But all my family, well, most of my family cares about it. Let's see. Do you guys do videos and store them for YouTube for later release?
I do not. When I finish shooting a video, I will upload it as soon as I can and get it out there, because I can't wait to see what people think about it, pretty much.
Yeah, I'm kind of the same way. I don't have the. I wish that I could get a backlog, where I was ahead, but I just don't have the time to build that, and so, yeah, I get them done just in time to get them up, and even if I do get them done a day early, I usually end up posting them just because I'm excited. Same thing, like,
right,
I want to show this to people. I want to hear what people think. So.
Yeah, that point where I just finished a project and finished shooting video, when I start editing, that's where the excitement starts building toward the release.
Yeah. I recently, so I use Patreon, and a lot of people support me on Patreon, which is really awesome. And we recently hit a goal to where I now patrons get to see videos before it's public on YouTube, which has actually been really cool, because when I do get it done early, I get to put it up for patrons and get like that smaller group of people's feedback before anybody else sees it, it's fun. I like being able to.
Yeah.
So it's nice to be able to give, because they go out of their way to support me. It's nice to be able to give them something kind of ahead of time, or something unique. So.
Yeah, that's cool.
Both. Do you? And we were talking about this before we got recorded. Do you use any CAD programs like SketchUp in your projects?
I don't make full plans. If I do anything, I will make a cutting template, especially things that have curves and that sort of kind of artistic cuts. I use the software I use is Microsoft Visio, which is normally used for like business flow charts and diagrams and things, but it's great for just drawing curves and different shapes, like bandsaw boxes. It's really good for that. It's just a 2D drawing thing, and it's the surface that you draw on is like graph paper, with lines and everything, and it's to scale, so you can draw the box with certain dimensions and that sort of thing. So that's pretty much all I do, and I try to make those available whenever I have them for a project as well.
Yeah, I use SketchUp a little bit, and I don't normally release plans with it, but I'll use it as a thinking tool. You know, like if I can draw something out to scale in it, then I can. Like I'm working on something right now that moves, and so the best way for me to do that is to build it in SketchUp and actually like rotate things on their axis to see how things move, you know, and if they're going to intersect in bad places or stuff like that. And I made, for the bed I did recently, I made a model for it so that I could visualize it, but I didn't, and I've had people ask for plans, but I'm just not very good at making like a useful plan with it. Some people are really good at that thing, and it's not really my strength, so I do use it, but I don't really make plans with it. So.
Yeah, I always never followed the plans, and actually I work on a project now where I'm actually drawing up some plans, and just to see if I can follow them, follow my own plans, I guess.
Yeah.
But we'll see how that works.
Let's see. I saw one. Oh, here it is. This is from Rick. Do you find it difficult to keep up with the video demand? It seems most YouTubers expect once-a-week projects, and this requires you to make, recording, edit a project in a short period of time. Does that take away from your personal life?
Yeah, it does take away from family time. That sometimes I try to balance it, but for me, I'm unable to commit to a certain day of the week every week, so I have some leeway there. I try to do 3 or 4 videos a month, but there could be a week and a half or 2 weeks between a couple of the videos. It would just be too hard for me to do a certain day every week. I don't see how a lot of the guys do that. That would be tough.
Yeah, I don't either, honestly. I was telling somebody earlier today, I have kind of an internal schedule that I try to keep myself to, but I never say that out loud because I don't want anybody else to have to hold me to it. But yeah, I don't understand how anybody could consistently make projects every week. It's amazing that people can do that. My life is just too full of other stuff for me to be able to do that. So, I do it the best I can, and I still try to plan for it so things don't fall behind. But I would rather make fewer, better videos than try to like force a small project that I could fit into a week's thing for me.
Right. I'm always aware of the last video when I posted it, and when it gets to about the 5 or 6 days since then range, that's when I start itching and feel like I need to get another video done. So.
Gotcha. Yeah, it makes sense. Would there be? Here's another one. Would there be a project too small to be considered worth doing a video on?
No, I've done some small projects and made the video, the entertainment of the video, the feature, basically. Like recently for Christmas, I did a small turning project that included a Christmas tree, a snowman, and a lantern. You turn them all at once out of one piece of wood, and then cut them apart and glue them onto a base, like a little snow scene. And that, to me, was a really small project. But part of that project, I had a little stuffed Santa here in my shop, and I was playing along with Santa, and I crushed his legs under the garage door. So I made a fun story and a fun video out of that small project. So sometimes the story of the video kind of takes over the project for me. And,
yeah.
And then like the next week I'll do a more serious, bigger project.
Gotcha. Yeah. For me, there probably are things that are too small for me to shoot a video, but it's not for the fact just that it's small. Part of my goal in doing videos is to show a process start to finish, every step. So if somebody has no experience with making whatever the thing is, they have no experience with that, then I can show them the entire process in a short amount of time to kind of demystify it. So like my whole goal in doing all this stuff is to reach those people who just don't think they can, and to show them that yes, you can. You don't have to do this thing, but here's how you do it. And you can see that I'm just a dude with no specific skill, and I can do it. So hopefully that'll help you do it. So if the project is too small, that goal is not met. You know, it's not as effective for somebody to see it and be like, oh, I thought that was hard. That's not really hard. So that's my only reason, you know, for not picking a small project. But
yeah, that's one of the most rewarding things for me is whenever I see someone else build the project that I made, they'll send me a picture of it, or I get contacted from shop teachers in schools, and apparently there are some schools that still have shop class.
Oh, wow.
Because they will contact me, and like I did a phone stand video. It's just a little simple video. And they said they showed the video to the whole 7th grade class, and all the 7th graders are making phone stands, you know, after watching my video. So I sent them some templates that I drew up for that project. So, and they sent me pictures of the kids' phone stands they made. And, you know, recently I got contacted by a school in Singapore, of all places, that said they were going to build the tongue drums that I made. So they were asking me questions about what type of woods sound good, what shape of tongues, and how long the tongues are, and how to make musical note scales with the bar lengths. So I sent them a bunch of information. So, you know, that's a very important thing I get out of doing this, is seeing other people take what I do and run with it and try it themselves.
Awesome. Yeah, it is really awesome, and I try to make an effort to ask at the end of my videos for people to send me pictures, because it is really, really cool for people to send you like, hey, I made this because I saw you make it and it taught me something. You know, yeah. That's great. Let's see. Got just a couple more questions. Do you have anything coming up that you want to tell everybody about? Anything?
No, the only recent thing was the Wood Magazine article that just came out, so look for that in the newsstands. And I'll have a video coming out soon, as soon as I finish it.
Gotcha. Yeah, everybody go get that magazine. You want to tell us what the video is about?
Yeah, I made my wife it's a laptop stand. It's got adjustable height, and it's kind of like a Steve Ramsey made a sofa snack table that you can. It's kind of you know, it's got a base and a top, and then one side has legs, you know, that connect the two, and you can slide it up under the couch, or you can slide it up under the bed, so you have a work surface, or you know, kind of a breakfast in bed thing, or your laptop. And it's adjustable height, so you can use it at the couch or in the bed, wherever you need it. So I'm going to make plans available for that as well. So that's coming up.
Awesome. Look forward to that. We'll do one last question. It's almost time. So it was from Patrick, and I lost it, but it said, oh gosh, I love that you guys add questions, but it jumps around a lot when you do. Okay, here it is. Both. Has making YouTube videos made you a better woodworker?
Definitely for me, I've found I'm faster at making things. What's interesting is when I come out to make something and don't have the video going and don't have to worry about that, I can make things really fast, a lot faster than I used to be able to. But yeah, you know, I'm getting better at adjusting my tools so they cut accurately and that sort of thing. And I'm constantly learning. I'm part of a woodworking club here locally. It's the Gwinnett Woodworkers, and we also have a YouTube channel where we post videos there. But you know, those guys, they're not on YouTube. Well, a few of them are, but every Saturday we have classes where I can go and learn things from them, and they have a lot more experience and a lot to share. So that's pretty cool.
Awesome. Yeah, I actually I met some of those guys at Maker Faire. Some of them came and I don't remember names, unfortunately, but yeah, they came by and said hi and said that they knew you and did the club with you and stuff. It was really cool to meet them. Yeah. So if you guys are in the Atlanta area, go check them out. That would be pretty awesome.
Yeah.
Well, there's still a lot of questions, and I'm sorry we can't get to them all because there are some really good ones that I'd like to, but it's 10:30. And so thanks, guys, for watching, for putting questions out, and just for supporting Steve. And if you're not, for some odd reason, if you're not subscribed to his channel, go do that tonight. And Steve, thanks so much for taking the time and for doing this, and I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Bob, and thanks everybody for watching and asking questions. I really appreciate it, and I will see you guys on YouTube.
Right on. Cool. Thanks, everybody. Have a good night.